Welcome to Women of the World, a show which gives a voice to women from around the world who have chosen to make the United States their home. Our show believes in the principles written on and enshrined by the Statue of Liberty. Here's today's moderator, Comfort Dondo.
Welcome to Women of the World. My name is Comfort Dondo. I'll be moderating the show for today. Co-hosting with me today, I have Catherine. Welcome to the show, Catherine.
Thank you so much.
And then we also have Renata today, co-hosting with me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Delighted to be with you.
I have the pleasure of introducing our guest for the show today. Her name is Yoko, and she is a very busy woman. Yoko Connelly is a calligrapher. She's a swimmer. She's also a downhill skier. She's a book enthusiast, a language student, and a proud mother to 3 children. Welcome to the show,
Thank
Yoko.
you so much. Happy to be here.
It's very good to have you.
One of the first questions we wanted to ask, we kind of decided ahead, would just to ask you if you would tell us a little bit about how did you end up in St. Paul, Minnesota with this Irish last name of yours?
Okay. Yes. So let's start. I was a regular student, high school student in Japan, but I got so much interested in English. But before coming to English, I was more interested in movies, like foreign movies, not just only American movies, French movies, Italian movies, Chinese, so many foreign movies. But particularly, I was interested in English spoken ones. Then I wanted to be a how do you call it? The movie subtitle translator. Do you say that?
Yeah.
Then I started seriously started to study English. When I was a college student, I had a chance to get into this wonderful university in Japan, and that made me overcome to the state to Minnesota, St. Paul.
But there's a little bit more to that. How did you get your Connelly name?
Oh.
You met Prince Charming?
Oh, yes. My husband, we've met. We were in college in Japan. He was an exchange student also from Wisconsin. And we met by being a martial art class together. We were fighting partners together. We used to be very good friends, but yes, we became very close. And when I graduated from college in Japan, I decided to come to the States. Then he was always with me, helping me out with adjusting the culture in the States. And he came to see me from St. Paul to St. Cloud every weekend. And we got married after I graduated from four-year university in here.
How did the transition with the English go, and what did you feel about your accent, and did that feel like it became very comfortable to be speaking English like an American?
I loved studying. I love studying language. I love studying English so much. I listened a lot of what. Yes, I was always with English, surrounded by English. The language just came to me. Of course, the first time it was really hard to learn, of course, but I got used to it. I said, yeah, but just kept listening, kept speaking.
You're so good at that English that when you're on the telephone, people often don't have a clue that you're from Japan or other places like that.
Yeah.
This might be a good time to have you ask about that language question.
Well,
yeah.
actually, I was wondering, you mentioned martial arts. So how did the road go from martial arts to calligraphy?
Oh, I see. Okay. I still like martial art. I did karate, I did aikido, and I wish I still can do more, continue my having belt in karate, aikido. But I like calligraphy because that's something I can do at home, and that really eases my mind because I put my thoughts into my writing. This is my original. Everybody has different thoughts, and just original. This is myself. This is me, myself.
So for our viewers at home, I would like you to tell us a little bit more about these two pieces. Could you tell us a little bit about the pieces that you have here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one on the blue, this is the model look.
Okay.
This is how that school kids learn at school. And everybody is taught this way. You gotta write this way, that way. Everybody has to have exact identify. This is the model.
So
is
this like is this like an alphabet, part of the alphabet? Because I'm trying to
symbol, meaningful.
Symbol?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Meaning, has meanings.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep, has meanings.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes one meaning, several meanings.
Okay.
It varies. And so I changed it. So this is not everybody can do. And now what I like is to turn it into my own form, own way. And I came up with this green one, this one, which is still the same meanings, but to me, looking at this, I am more visually understanding the meaning, the deep meaning of this character. For example, this specific kanji, I say kanji, that's Chinese character.
Okay.
That means either extra or surplus, and also like space. You have space in your heart, that kind of space. And what I thought about this kanji, I really like the meaning of it, but just knowing the meaning of it doesn't do anything. I want to make it my own way. So I wrote it, I made it this way, of this green way, so that people understand that by looking, oh, that's what it means. So for example, what I made looks like person in the middle is holding two fruits. And that means richness and more wealthiness and given. So I want to, this is actually my New Year's resolution for this year, that I want to be more giving. I want to be not physically rich, but how can I say
wealthy,
but more in the sense that I have enough.
To be able to be here.
Yes.
Talking of your resolutions, I would like to learn a little bit more about your story. I guess the transition from Japan to here, Minnesota. Just your experience as an immigrant in Minnesota. Do you have a large Japanese American or Japanese immigrant community? And if so, how do you stay plugged into your community?
Sure. Yes, I think we have. I was very surprised. I was probably closed off. I didn't speak Japanese. I just hang out with my husband's friends when I first came to the States. That not as a student, but after marriage, I always hanged with American people because I didn't know any Japanese people around me. But actually, until recently, I didn't realize we had such large Japanese community. My 3 children, they are going to Minneapolis Japanese school.
That's awesome.
And I realized there are so many students, so many people that have the same kind of background. And I was very excited about it, finding this is my 4th year being in a school community. I really enjoy the Japanese, hanging out with Japanese people in St. Paul.
And you do that primarily on Saturdays is when
Saturdays,
the children study,
sure.
right?
Yes. Yep.
And approximately how many children study at the Saturday school?
Yep, we have about 140 students
Amazing.
in school.
That's a large number.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And are they all of Japanese descent, or is it a mixture of the children?
Mixture.
Mixture of the children, okay.
Wow. Now, in your learning of English, we have how many symbols that you put together for words like 26?
26.
Yeah, I think it's 26. How many of these kanji, the characters, are there for your writing of
So
ID?
many. I can't even. 2,000, 3,000.
I think
should
even
say.
possibly more.
It could be more because
Yeah.
these are Chinese.
Yeah.
Japanese borrowed the Chinese characters a long time ago. Yes. Oh, yeah. There are more. Yes.
Yeah, to read a
more than
newspaper, I
3,000.
believe in Japan,
Sure.
you have to know at least 5,000 of these characters, which gives you plenty of artwork for the future, right? There's many, many. But besides the Japanese kanji, is there also any other alphabet that you use or other?
Yes.
What is
Yep,
that about?
We do. We have hiragana writing and katakana writing. And hiragana is hiragana writing and katakana writings are the same thing, like A, B, C, D. We have a, I, U, E, O. We both have a, I, U, E, O, writing in it. But the writing system, the words are different. So we express a, for example, a in two forms. A in hiragana form and a in katakana form. And we have, how many? 46, I believe, 46 in each category. Katakana, 46 hiragana, 46 katakana. Plus, we learn kanji.
So it's a very complex
Yes,
process of learning
exactly. It
as a
is.
child.
Writing is very complex.
And is this one of the reasons why the children have to go on Saturdays to make sure they can keep up with?
Yes, exactly.
Oh my, yeah.
So this picture is called a kanji.
Yes.
And if I understood you correctly, there are different meanings to this picture. You mentioned space,
Yeah, space.
and love.
Yep.
So this would be part of a sentence?
This is not a sentence. This is a meaning.
That is just a meaning. So that would not be used in conveying information?
So, for example, this is like a picture. So understand this as a picture. So we see this kanji, just one glance, and we understand, oh, that means surplus. Okay, oh, that means that. So it's like a picture.
It's a picture. It's not a letter in an alphabet.
It's not a letter in alphabet, no.
But it's part of a sentence.
It can be part of a sentence.
Yes,
that people
oh, yes,
understand.
yes.
It would sit there, and then the type of sentence would probably explain, does this mean space in a warehouse, or does this mean space in my heart?
my heart.
Yeah, that would be in the context of the
But if
meaning.
the sentence contains more kanjis with different meanings,
Yes.
so it's very difficult to discern one meaning or one message. Could a sentence then have several messages? How do you convey one message if you want to convey one very important message?
One
how do you
message,
do
then
that?
use one writing, one kanji
One
probably.
kanji.
Yep. So this is very interesting. So I read books to my children, and I sometimes, because I'm reading, because kids, small children don't know the kanjis. They learn probably the first kanji they learn is when they are in grade 1. So what? How old? 5 or 6?
5 or 6 years old.
5 or 6 years old, they learn the first kanji. They don't know. So the books I've been reading to my 4-year-old has been just hiragana, or the one of the writing system 46 alphabet chart letter one, and a combination of that and a katakana. So there's no kanji in it. So to me, it's really hard to read, catch catch up the meaning of it. I have to read every long sentence and find out, oh, that's what it means. Oh, that's what it means. I really miss kanji in the little children's books because it's so visual. You see it and you grasp the meaning right away. You don't have to express in long sentence using the hiragana, katakana chart, kanji, the writings. It's hard to understand. The meaning doesn't come to me, my mind.
From the sentences.
It's very,
From the-
it's very
from the
complex.
sentence.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's very
to-
complex, yeah.
Yes.
Which makes me think about flipping the tables, right? And thinking about being a foreigner, or thinking about, say, Americans who speak English well, and how sometimes maybe I've heard this phrase that, you know, people coming from other countries need to learn English and master it. But you see, it's very complex. It's very, very complex.
Very complex.
Because you're coming from trying to understand this. Some of the vowels, that you're explaining, that is
Sure.
also part of my native language. And so that just how that plays. And but yeah, it's, I guess language is very complex, whichever way you look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the idea that for you, it's so much easier with the kanji, and for us, it's like, oh my, can you give me something a little more
Believe me.
specific? Yeah.
Can we just break that kanji down?
Yeah, a little bit. I think that it's interesting because somehow it captures a little bit of what I consider kind of the Japanese spirit. You need so few words to understand what meaning is going between people. If I were to meet old women who came to visit our campus in Japan, and I wanted to talk with them, what could I talk about? Would I be able to ask them about their children and all this? These are people I don't know, and they're older than I am. Tell me what would be a good thing to be able to say to these women.
We would probably, greet first. Then I think that's probably universal, but talk about weather. Then
Could I talk about the flowers?
flowers.
Could I talk about the birds? and all the
Nothing
time.
personal.
That's the key. I think
Yes.
it would be too intrusive,
It
wouldn't
is.
it?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
But by talking with them, I'd be saying to them, just to ask about the weather, they'd know I cared enough to just be connected to
Right.
them.
Yes. Yeah.
I find that so wonderful. In
That
so
is
many-
very
Oh,
interesting.
it's so interesting.
Because in Zimbabwe, Sub-Saharan Africa, where I'm from, it may seem very intrusive, but people actually want to know, how are you doing? So they actually want to understand how you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the last time I carried my biracial children with me, people were very confused because my children don't look like me, they look more light-skinned. So they wanted to understand if they were albino or if they were
Yes.
mixed or if they were mine. And they go really
They
into
go
the
right
personal.
into it.
So
yes.
yeah, so very interesting difference in culture.
Sure.
When could you start talking politics? Ever? It's very
Sounds like maybe
important,
not.
but it's very
Exactly.
important.
Gotta
Yeah.
be good friends.
Or yeah, you'd have to be good friends
friends.
before you could
Right.
talk about
Yeah.
that.
So, so talking of that difference, how has it been for you being married to a man from the United States? How do you balance your own, keeping your own identity and then balancing your children's mixed identities and then your husband? How do you keep that balance, and how has that journey been for you?
It's hard. It's hard because I'm used to living in the States. I love Minnesota. I love living in here so much. I love it. But I'm still missing something. And when I go back to Japan, on the other hand, I miss coming back to the States.
Minnesota.
So I think my identity is changed. I own both now, Japanese, but at the same time I'm a little more American.
Americanized.
I love I love this.
I can relate.
Minnesota, yeah.
I can relate. Somebody put it well when they said when we miss home when we're here, then when you go home you realize why you left home. Sometimes.
Yes,
So
right.
so there's bits and pieces of you. So
Yes,
I echo
sure.
that. That was it.
And I imagine your children will also have both of these identities, but their struggle will be different, won't it? Because they'll think that's just normal. You have these two identities.
Yes.
For you, it's not. It's it's constantly growing. It's this change.
And you feel like
Yes.
you're leaving the other one on the other side when you come back.
Yeah.
And then
Like I say, to my 9-year-old, she understands the difference now in culture, Japan and America. I say, let's not do that in here, in America. And in Japan, I say, or in the States, I say, let's not be Japanese in the state. Then she understands.
okay.
Yes.
Very nice.
And she understands that concept now.
To what degree can you observe cultures evolving? Because when I think back of the Twin Cities, let's say 50 years ago, the only bread you could get was Wonder Bread. And now just think of the great panoply of bread and or all the different ethnic cuisines, but they are part of the American culture too now.
Yeah.
So have you observed any particular evolution in culture in this country or in Japan that you found profound or that impressed you or that possibly you even disliked?
I enjoy well, let's see, because I'm from a little city called Akita. We had no, I grew up with no, for example, Mexican food. No, we did have Western restaurants, so I knew about spaghetti or what else, steak and mac and cheese, somewhat like mac and cheese, gratin. But in the States, it gives me more options and more variety of things in general, more options.
Much more than Japan, I think.
Much more than Japan
Akita.
or the place I grew up.
Yeah.
So could we get back to your martial arts? I find that fascinating that you practice martial arts. Tell us about it. What was women's participation? I don't think many American women practice martial arts.
Oh, I think there are.
They do?
There are so many. Yes, there
tell
are so
us
many. Yes.
In your country
And
too?
also the role of women, right? The role of women in Japan. What does that look like when you tie it in with the martial arts too?
I think nowadays in Japan, more woman acceptance, more getting more equal, treated equal.
That's good.
But some part, like a little bit political, but it's still not there yet. But martial art, I see several women in the class, but not so much as. For example, I noticed in the States here, kickboxing class. This kickboxing class, I see more women
Than men.
right? And when I was a college student, I was in karate. I was the only female. There was no locker room for me, so I changed with them.
Yeah, what can you do?
But I
can beat them, join them.
I didn't mind so much. I didn't mind. I'm a very open-minded person, so I'm okay. That's fine. Just a little corner.
Yeah.
I can change.
Yeah.
But I think it's becoming more women in martial art segment
In Japan?
in Japan.
Well, I think in the United States too. I have a daughter-in-law who's now 33, and she at 5 began her martial arts. And it was because her mother felt she was too small and petite and wanted her well trained. And she's a black belt, and she's very good. Did that lead at all to your love of dance as well? Did they flow together? Do those?
Sure, expression, self-expression is something I love. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I love. Yes, acting. I love dance. Modern, just my own way, feeling like this. This is me.
The openness.
Myself.
That's great.
It's very interesting because I think historically we've thought of the education system in Japan as being very narrow. You all will have to be like this, you know. But somehow it seems like you have had a very wonderful personal experience through it. So there's plenty of room, it seems, in that education system for that also to happen. If you have someone who's not doing a very lockstep kind of expected behavior, there's room for them too. Is that what your experience was in Akita, for example, when you were going to school?
Like a freedom, you mean?
Yeah,
Education?
to be able to really kind of express yourself and find things that you really loved and hang on to them and go with them?
I think so. I recently realized that when I was in school, I never thought that, because my day was go to school, after school, juku. Juku is the extra schooling. After, how do you call it?
Yes.
After
Like
school.
Yeah.
School.
Like tutoring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tutoring session. So school is done at 4 or 4:30, and then start going to juku till 8 or something. Then come home, homework, and go to sleep. That's how I felt, and I think that was my life till I was a high school student, till I was 18. I was 18, yep.
How much vacation did you get? That's a very long school day.
Very
Yes.
And how many days in the week did you go to school, and how much vacation? in
When I was in elementary school, we had 6 days of school and 1 day weekend off, Sunday off. But the system changed later. So when I was finally to high school age, it became 5 days a week, 5 days schooling day and a 2 days rest. Saturday, Sunday off. And we have about a month of spring vacation. We have 1 month of summer vacation. And we have about 1 month of winter vacation. So definitely America has got more vacations
Than you remember having, right?
Well,
Very
thank you so
different,
much.
yes.
Thank you so much. We've run out of time. We've learned a lot today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
for having
and
me.
to my co-host, thank you.
We sure
Thank you.
enjoyed it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very interesting.
Yeah.